Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Grind and Game. This is episode 4, and we're so glad that you guys are here to join us today. A little recap of what we've been up to. Our other 3 episodes, episode 1 being our GOAT episode, episode 2 being our 2025 Game of the Year Campfire Special, episode 3, which was our fantasy draft, which got a little competitive and a little words were thrown back and forth, which will kind of pivot into what today's episode is. But before we even get started and all that, I am joined today by both Nick and Dave. They host another podcast together called Nick and Dave Save the World. Nick also has another bourbon podcast called Uncut, Never Filtered, which we might need to get some advice from him for drinks as we're getting some of this news and we start battling a little bit. But Baby Boy Pours, how are you feeling today, my friend?
Good, dude.
I should have waited till you got sitting back up. My bad.
No,
I got you
you're
in a
good.
vulnerable moment.
We'll keep it rolling. Dude, I'm feeling good. It's a Monday, but I don't know if you've heard yet, they're calling for 10 to 18 inches of snow this weekend.
Yes, I did.
So
And it's miserable on my end of things. As you know, as kids, we all were so excited for snow days, waiting for and this shows our age a little bit, waiting for our school to populate on the bottom of the news channel. Always waiting. But now, as in our careers now, I just know it's going to be headaches of call outs and problems and making sure our venue's safe because we have 2 large events in our building that weekend. But hey, this winter vortex is coming regardless. Dave, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm excited for another episode. And down here in South Carolina, we're not so much worried about snow. They were talking a little bit about maybe getting an inch or 2, but if that happens, it melts by midday. It never really.
That's all you've ever had.
I was waiting for it.
But as you boys know, I grew up in the Chicagoland area, and I have those fond memories as well, sitting there watching the news, hoping that your school shows up and you could stay home and play some video games.
Chicago. Yeah. I think we got to address the elephant in the room. How you feeling after yesterday? Last night, I should say.
Yeah, that was tough. To watch. I think a lot of people were questioning why, early in the game, they could have kicked a field goal. So they tried to go for it on 4th down. And, that led to them being tied at the end of the game, go to overtime.
What about that Caleb Williams touchdown, though, to fucking go into overtime?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting going into the next year. A lot of these guys, it was their first year with the Bears, so they were still kind of in that building phase. But now they got a team going, and we'll see what happens. They obviously, how the offseason goes. They'll probably lose some players, add some more, but we'll see what goes on next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, as we all know, Steelers and now the Bears are out, so we get to just enjoy the championship and Super Bowl games with no stakes. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Yep, we're calling it now. Seahawks and Patriots Super Bowl, and Seahawks win.
So I've got an interesting note on that. I was working with ChatGPT earlier, and I asked it to predict who was going to win the Super Bowl, and
what'd the droid say?
The droid picked the Seahawks.
Well, there you go.
Seahawks are a nasty defense, so I could see it.
That also had me wondering if the bot could predict who could possibly be winning our fantasy draft, or not the draft, but just our fantasy league for the games of 2026. And it chose me, boys.
Yeah, right.
Sounds like a biased machine, if you asked me.
The only reason it chose you is because you had fucking mixtape on there.
The sleeper cell mixtape.
No, the stuff with AI going on right now is it kind of tells you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So maybe if you guys go in and ask it, it'll probably tell you that you're going to be the winner. So
we're going to leave out the prompt that says, "Please tell me I'll win."
Yeah, I was telling it for an hour before that how depressed I was, so it was just giving me a boost.
I didn't want to put salt in the wound. It was like, you're going to win, buddy. We promise.
Yeah.
And that's a great segue into what we're going to be getting into in a little bit. But before that, boys, I had said something to y'all earlier in the week, kind of, talk about a few things, but I'm going to throw a curveball at you. What I realized after our 3 episodes, we never really touched into what systems we play on, our history of gaming. We don't have to go super deep, but I would like for you guys to kind of, and I'll do it the same thing, kind of where you started gaming, where you're at currently, why you got to where you're at. And I'm talking like console wise. We already kind of talked about the games we like. But I think that'll be good for the audience to know kind of like where we're gaming mostly and all that good stuff, where we came from gaming. I'm going to go ahead and, either one of you could start off, whoever is feeling froggy today.
I'll go ahead. I started off initially on shit. I'm trying to think, dude. If we go back to all gaming consoles, I mean, are we just going to talk about the hype ones or just in general? Because
I would like say where you started, and then you can kind of jump around a little bit, and then kind of where you're currently getting most of your gaming in right now.
Okay, so I guess my love for gaming started and where I really picked it up was the Xbox. But I've played most major consoles from GameCube to shit. Remember we had the Atari at our grandma's house. We'd play that shit to PlayStation 2 for a long time too. All the old school Driver, those games, played those ones. But those are more of like, when I think back to gaming when I like really got into it, it was Xbox. And for the longest time, I stayed with Xbox. Then I started to swap over to PC just because there was certain games that were only available on the PC that I really wanted to play, and got into a couple games, but no like real major titles that I ever play strictly on the PC, except for Baldur's Gate was really, I played that game fully through on the PC and really enjoyed it. But
Did you also jump into, you put that program, you kind of touched on this in episode 1, programming the computer to play Arena, right? Elder Scrolls Arena?
Yeah, so that's kind of, yeah, exactly. And there was games I couldn't play on the console, and actually, and we'll get into this when we talk about current gaming, but or I'll go back to the PC, but it's definitely not my main console. So with that, like I was using DOSBox, which was allow you, because most software now doesn't allow you to play those older games. Like it's not compatible with it. So I played Arena. There was another game, I think it was called Blood, but it was like a spin-off of Doom that I really enjoyed. So and then I did play some like AAAs on the PC and I enjoyed it. It's more like a first person shooter I'd play on the PC. But then I ended up getting a PlayStation. I played that for a good bit and I was kind of sold on the PlayStation for a while. I just liked their what do you call them? I guess the I'm blanking here, but
Exclusives?
yeah, exactly. Thank you. I like their exclusives a lot, like the God of Wars, and I wanted to kind of dabble in those where I never had before. And played the PlayStation. I had no intention to get rid of the PlayStation, except two major things happened. One, my PlayStation account got hacked. And I was in
I'm
the
only
gym.
laughing because I was a part of this. We were playing New World, that MMORPG from Amazon that actually I'm hearing is getting shut down.
Yeah, it's done.
But yeah, we hopped into it for a bit, Dave, and we were what we call PvP evil little rats, and we were taking people out nonstop, and we were getting pretty nasty with it. And then, lo and behold, I'll let Nick take over at this point.
Yeah.
What happened next?
It might have been a factor of my responses in game chat and killing people nonstop, but I was in the gym and luckily like 4 in the morning, or it was like 3 in the morning, it was like a super early gym session for me one day, and I get a couple notifications across my phone. You know, $59.99 withdrawn from your account, $59.99 withdrawn from your account, and a couple emails. Thanks for your purchase. Thanks for your purchase. So I'm like, holy shit. I cut on the PlayStation, can't get into my account. The person had bought like 10 games and locked me out of my account and changed it. And so I spent probably the better part of that entire day. Actually, it was probably half a week on the phone with PlayStation support trying to prove to them that my account was truly my account, while the guy hacking my account, every time I got the password reset, would just log back in and change it back, call them too and change it back, to the point this guy was so good that they thought I was the hacker. Like, they just started hanging up on me because they thought I was trying to hack the damn account. So that left a really bad taste in my mouth on PlayStation. And I finally got access to my account, removed all my cards, and did changed a bunch of things, and now it rests where it rests. But what really sealed the nail in the coffin with PlayStation was I was stepping over the baby gate from the kitchen to the living room, and my foot caught the HDMI cord and ripped the HDMI port out of the back of my PlayStation.
Never
Now,
forget that phone call.
yes, and when this happened, Oblivion was remastered, was about to drop the next day. So I swiftly drove to the local Walmart that night and bought a Series X. And that brings us full circle to now I'm back, and most of my gaming goes through a good old Xbox Series X. And I could tell you, it's good to be home.
And Dave, I know where you're currently at too, so I'll let you kind of go through yours before I just to pose a question to both of you regarding Xbox. So go ahead, my friend.
Well, yeah, for me, we look at all these iPad kids these days and shake our head, but I was a little Game Boy Color kid. My parents were going to a wedding, and I think I had to be about 5 years old, and my mom got me a Game Boy with my first one was Pokemon Red version, and I remember being under the table at that wedding playing my little heart out. All the adults are having fun, but I was just a kid that needed to be kept quiet. So I'm sitting there playing Game Boy, and I was hooked. And then after that, we had the Nintendo 64 in the family living room that me and my siblings would fight over. And then it progressed from there. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, original Xbox, all the way through. Now I pretty much mostly play everything on the Series X. My wife and I both have a Switch, so we'll play some games there too as well. Just Nintendo hasn't been able to grab me as much lately. I think we talked about that on previous episodes. With having such limited time, it's hard to just play everything. So I've really just focused on Xbox. One little cool gadget I picked up, and I'll let you boys know if it's any good, but this Backbone device with Xbox's Play Anywhere feature, I can play, I'm going to try it out, especially with the game coming out tomorrow, Mio, Memories in Orbit. I think it would be a very easy game to play on my phone, how you can just stream games from Xbox and play on your phone, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to be really testing that out. I know it's not going to be something you want to play Battlefield on, or definitely not like a Fable or anything where you really want to be in it and you want to have that controller. For something like Mio that looks pretty simple to play and I can just lay back in the bed, I think this little device is going to serve me well.
Yeah, I actually have a Backbone, the PlayStation version of it. I don't think it changes much; it just has like the PlayStation interface and buttons.
Yeah.
I use it whenever I've used it a lot. It's actually very cool to use. I've used it for Diablo when I was playing Diablo, and the latency wasn't bad at all. I've also used it for Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. Actually, not Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. Excuse me, the Final Fantasy remake that came out recently, and it runs great, man. It's really cool, like you said.
Yeah.
But you don't want to play like a AAA game just because I want the
Right.
full experience. But I still like for those. I think Neo would be a great one for you. And that I was going to ask you that later on the show, so we kind of jump there real quick. Is you planning on jumping in with that being your first game that can get you some points this season?
Yeah, it's something I like the fact that we set this league up, or really you set this league up. It's gonna normally this game would have just flew right past me. I would have never picked it up, but now I'm gonna be really expanding my portfolio, and I was like, well, this would be perfect because it's a platformer game, and I was already looking up. As you boys know, the achievement hunter I am, I was seeing it's got a full 1,000 gamer score I'll be going for right in the comfort of my bed. The wife turns on some show and I don't, I don't really feel like watching. I can just pull this thing out of the nightstand drawer and get a few achievements before bed.
That's awesome. That's a good motivator too, like you said, this league to us to knock these games out. Like I'm super excited for my first score, which is Dragon Age. I keep saying Dragon Age, sorry, Dragon Quest 7
Yeah.
Reimagined. I think I just want a really good Dragon Age to
Yeah.
come out. But I'm so looking forward to that
Manifesting
game
it.
dropping. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep saying it by mistake and hopefully but yeah, I'm really excited for that Reimagined too. And yeah. We got some good ones coming up soon with points, except for Karn, but I'll jump into that in a little bit. But before we continue on, boys, it's my turn. I started out with the SNES. We had one at my mother's house in Jersey when she was there, and that's where I kind of got my feet wet in it. And then as well as when we lived in Florida. Eventually, after that, we jumped to PS1 when I moved with Nick and I moved with our dad in Virginia. So we played PS1 for a while. That's where we played like NFL Blitz. I actually played Final Fantasy 9, which I really enjoyed. And then straight from PlayStation 1, I went to PlayStation 2. And that's where I played Final Fantasy 10, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, all the WWE games. I was PlayStation for a long time. Around the end of that cycle going into PlayStation 3, we kind of switched over to Xbox 360, and that still to this day is probably one of my favorite console I've ever had. I just thought it was amazing. I love that you could pop that hard drive off, take it to your buddy's house, but hard drive it to their Xbox and be able to play your stuff. Again, like Xbox Live, it was so ahead of its time. It established that. That's what we talk about Halo 2, Halo 3. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion was Xbox 360. From there, I jumped to Xbox One and then Xbox Series consoles over that next course area. But back to you, Dave. There was a section there where Game Boy SP was my system. I love that thing. I had the backlit screen. I had Final Fantasy. That's where Final Fantasy Tactics was on the mind. I had Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which was like one of my favorite games growing up on that thing. I played it so many times. Fell in love with the job system and all these different things. But from there, I had the Xbox Series S, the small version, the baby boy, named after Nick and his drinks. But I had that one and I really liked it. But then it was actually funny enough that Nick jumped over to Xbox. He was the one that kind of convinced me that I needed to finally get on PlayStation for God of War. So it's kind of crazy if you think about it. And I jumped in and I played God of War 2018 and then God of War Ragnarok back to back.
So
and ever
good,
since
right?
then, it was just perfect amount of gaming. It was like, and I never really do that. And I feel like I was scared I'd get burnt out playing them both back to back. But no, man, it was like this full, complete, perfect story. And it was so great. It was funny. There's a little story here. And why God of War Ragnarok sticks in my brain. I was probably getting closer to the end of it. And for those that don't know, it was the year that I proposed to my now wife. And we had this whole plan, right? And it was going to be December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. And I had this whole plan out. We did all these things. Why I bring that up was, well, one of her friends called who knew about the plan and must have talked about it with this guy that was then going to propose to her the day before our proposal. So I get this guy's number, call him, and just lay into him. And I was like, if she finds out about my proposal, we're going to have a big, big problem, my friend. Luckily, it all worked out, and our proposal blew theirs out of the water. Not a competition, it was. But it's funny. That's why God of War sticks in my head so much, even besides being an amazing game. But
that's what's cool about games too, is like it is like when you get into a game, it kind of brings back the memories of that time in your life and what you were doing when you were playing that game, at least when you were like super invested in it.
It's the moment I got that spear, the ring that turns into the spear.
Yeah,
I'll never forget it. And that's what stuck in my head the moment I thought about this whole thing. I was like, oh yeah, that guy was trying to steal the thunder, but he got the smoke. And then so full circle, currently I do all my gaming on PlayStation 5. I have the last full game I played on Xbox was Expedition 33, which was fantastic. With Xbox's, Game Pass shooting up to $30 a month, I just felt like it's not really worth it anymore. But I still use my Xbox Series S. It's basically our multimedia machine. I feel like the interface, and I'll stick to it, is better than PlayStation's with the apps and everything. It just feels smoother, better, in my opinion. But yeah, boys, before we jump up, and I keep saying that, I got to work. But what I want to say is, how do you both feel that you're both Xbox guys right now? Probably your whole game catalog currently in the series area, especially you, Dave, with the achievement hunting. How do you feel about what their future looks like? Because it looks like they're kind of making the jump to being the best producer and developer of games because they're going to be dropping a lot, but it looks like they might be getting out of the hardware relatively soon. I think they're going to do one more cycle and then call it quits. But I just want to, what are you boys thinking with all that? How you think about jumping ship? You think about that Steam machine? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's interesting that all the lines are being broken. Everything's blending together, and Xbox. We see now Halo for the first time will be on PS5 this year. And it's I'm not up there making these decisions and things. Of course, like for the nostalgia, we're gonna want to hold on to that uh just keeping Xbox on its own, like you had mentioned, those memories from the 360, you had the hard drive, and so I feel that we're set in our ways, but maybe it's time for a change. And what would worry me is you have that long history. Like I've had my gamer tag for, gosh, I don't know, I'll put a guess, 12, 15 years or something like that. So then you see your whole history of games and of course achievements like I mentioned. And I wonder what happens if all that if that just goes away. And that's one of the things that's really kept me on Xbox, is because of everything that continues to carry over. I've got old messages on there from just fun, just funny stuff from the past, either if it's random person that was all fired up, if we're talking shit to them in a game, or just messages from buddies so I worry about that, losing that. And if it all, let's say the Steam machine or whatever, like I feel like people have talked about that forever. What if there's just one console that every game, we have God of War and Halo, we have, whatever titles you want to throw out there. So I would be sad if Xbox calls it quits and just but I think they will try to stay true to their fans and not just be like, well, all look, your gamer tag, your achievements, all your history is just, this is where it dies. It's um but we'll see what they do. Those are my quick thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I for one, and I guess we'll see, but I have a very hard time believing that Xbox is just going to stop making consoles. I mean, you got to think that they have an easy ticket for people that are going to buy them. And exactly to Dave's point, like
Yeah.
that's like, if why would PlayStation ever decide just to stop making consoles? Like,
Because they
even
sell a lot more than they do. You know what I mean? Comparatively, like they dominate them in the console sales. So I think that's kind of where this conversation comes from, is the, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but like that domination that PlayStation has, and then Nintendo's like honestly kind of competing with itself on the way they do things. But
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
but
where
that's a perfect example. Is, I mean, how many Switches sold compared to a PlayStation or an Xbox, or how many of these Steam Decks have sold compared to it? But they're still making iterations of them, because there is at the end of the day, even if Xbox sells 1,000 consoles, they don't. The Series X was what, $500. It doesn't cost them $500 to make the Series X.
well,
You
now they've
know,
jumped the price up. That's why I'm bringing it
Yeah.
up, because not only that, now they're bumping their prices up. Where you think they would drop them to start, you know what I mean? But like,
Yep.
if we're getting close to a new release, that's
And
where.
with everything I brought up, that means nothing to somebody who is a teenager right now. You know what I mean? Like the new generation coming up, they've got to appeal. Who's playing the most games? It's that younger crowd with all the time. They got a whole summer off. They're not. I feel like they're not going to be worried about people like us in our 30s, or even the older generation. I mean, my uncle, he's he's getting up close to 60, and he was a diehard 360 guy for years. And it's out with the old and with the new. These companies got to make money, and they're not worried about me and my achievements and my old messages. They're thinking about they're thinking
yeah,
about the next generation that's going to be paying them.
yeah. I mean, I guess I don't foresee it happen. It would I could see it happening, but it would be kind of shocking, I think. I mean, we're gonna watch the Xbox developer direct. You know, like I think they're still branding around it, and the branding is Xbox. It's the machine to a degree, right?
Right.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft developer direct, you know, and so
That's true.
it
That's a good point. Yeah.
to me, I think that there always be maybe it will be more expensive machines and maybe a smaller customer base. But I will say, and for the sake of the conversation, let's say it does go away, right? And
Mhm.
Xbox just says, "Fuck it, we're done. We're just gonna focus on making games." I don't know, man. Like, if PlayStation was the only console left, I mean, I don't even know if I'd get it anymore just because of having my shit hacked like that
Mhm.
really left a bad taste in my mouth, dude. Like, I don't want to make a Sony account again. Like, I
Mhm.
had to like beef up my security on it. I didn't leave my card on it. Like, I've left my card on my Xbox since I've had it, but before then it was on my other account for fucking 10, 15 years and nothing ever happened to it. So it just kind of like opened up this weird door to me where I'm like, I really have to protect this account this much. Like, I don't know. And it's probably to the fact that there's more people that play PlayStation and you get more of those people that are probably tech savvy or whatever the case is.
Mhm.
But I think if it came down to it, I'd probably get it and just be real cautious, buy a game here and there for couch play. But I'd probably swap over to PC because that's what Xbox would do at that point. It would just go solely Microsoft to the PC, and you could still have your account and gamer tag and all that on your PlayStation on your computer because I
Yeah.
have it on my PC now. Like I
Yeah.
can hop in the game bar and join a party chat here on my computer.
That's a great point because it seems, well, I know that the price didn't increase for PC Game Pass, if I remember correctly. So it's almost like they're kind of, I don't know, maybe shifting to that where, I mean,
It's so much
Microsoft
more of a pain in the
makes,
ass to
yeah.
keep up with the PC though. Like, that's the thing. I mean, you'll end up paying more to computer game. Yeah, you could get like a higher, you know, resolution and fidelity, but the average gamer is not going to want to fucking buy a graphics card every 2 years and swap their RAM and, you know, all the bullshit that comes with owning a PC.
No, I agree
It's
with you.
my
That's, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to add to my point earlier about the younger crowd that the people who have the most time to play games, they get that Xbox for Christmas and they're set. But they're not. If you're 16 years old, you don't have money to keep upgrading your PC and stuff like that, and parents will be confused at what part you're asking for and all those kinds of things. But to me, the console is just so simple. You can give it like to somebody and then they're good for years, until something new comes out. But
No, you touched on what I was just about to say is like, that's what I love about consoles. It's plug and go, you know?
Mhm.
That's so, and I don't want to stay on here too long, boys. Sorry. I just thought it'd be an, an interesting talk about it. But how do you guys feel about that new Steam machine? Are you excited about that? Because I personally won't buy any more Xbox stuff. You know what I mean? That's where my next console will be. Because in my eyes, I'm like, if I get that Steam machine, to your point, Nick, PC Game Pass is on there, so I get the Xbox stuff, I get all the
mhm.
Steam stuff, and then I have my PlayStation for all the PlayStation exclusives. So I'm kind of in my head, I think, well, I'm covered, right? I mean, there's not
Yeah,
anything I can't get my hands on if I want to get my hands on it. Now, will I have time to play every single thing? No, but if a Steam exclusive, quote unquote, PC exclusive, maybe I can get that and then play my PlayStation and then hop to Game Pass when Fable drops or something along those lines, you know? So I
I
don't know how you guys felt if you've seen anything about the Steam machine yet.
I think that that has the most potential to be the overall gaming system if it's successful. I think that, and with that, I think that if it's successful, PlayStation will go away as well because it will be basically a computer that you can play all the Steam games, which is one of the main reasons I got my computer was there's games on Steam that you can't play on PlayStation or Xbox. You can play all your Xbox games and you can play all your Steam games. And to a degree, it'll be a computer. It'll have Discord. It'll have all these things integrated into it that are way more user friendly than a PlayStation party or an Xbox party. So everybody can just hop into the Steam Discord party. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I think that it will, because if you look at it either way, Xbox doesn't have access to Steam. PlayStation doesn't have access to Steam. Now you introduce a device that has access to all these games and both, and that's the only device that does that. the gamer and everybody's going to be like, I want the shit that I can play the most stuff on. I don't want to get, strong armed out of an exclusive. Plus, I think if it takes off, there's going to be Steam exclusives, and that's where they're going to fucking rope you into wanting the thing more. You know what I
I
mean?
already feel like there is Steam exclusives because it's like anything that's
Oh,
on
there is.
PC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there
So it's
is.
like
But I'm talking about like a
one game I
AAA
wanted
title.
yeah, that's a good point.
You
Yeah,
know what I
there's no
mean?
real
There's
because
a
like
lot
what
of
I
indie
was looking
shit.
at was like Last Epoch, the ARPG, but it's
Mhm.
only online. And I was looking at some I was like looking at the top 10 RPGs coming out this year, and a lot of them are PC only. So it's like, yeah, I think AAA guys are up there, but they're just AAA PC guys. So, but
And
I
what
am curious. I
what
really
Steam
appreciate you
does
guys.
good. Oh, I'm sorry. You get me passionate about it because I have a Steam account, and I think what they do really good too is they've already established controller intricacy for the computer. So I imagine they will do the same for games that you typically won't be able to play on a keyboard and mouse, and you'd have people that would be able to do the best of both worlds with every game. You know what I mean? They drop
100%.
games on Steam that if you downloaded this, like the, let's just say Oblivion, right? Back in the day, I went to the store and picked up a PC copy of Oblivion, and I brought it home. I couldn't play it with a controller, but if I went to Steam, it had integrated controller support. I could sit here on my PC and play it with a controller if I didn't want to, or I could hook it HDMI to the TV and play. You know what I mean? It gave you that option.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah, and I appreciate you guys kind of humoring me on this. I was really curious because I knew you guys are both Xbox guys, how you're kind of feeling about this landscape as it's shifting. Because, a big moment for me was seeing that one Xbox guy during the Game Awards wearing a PlayStation shirt and seeing Master Chief on a PlayStation is kind of jarring. But again, the
Yeah.
games, I don't see it, like you said, Nick, it could end up becoming Microsoft Gaming instead of Xbox. I don't ever see that brand itself ever stop making games. I think they're way too profitable and they're doing a damn good job. Now the output is consistent. You know what I mean? Like when we were doing our draft, I was like hesitant to pick Clockwork Revolution because I'm like, that would be 5 games they dropped this year. I feel like that's a lot. So, especially 5 big ones, with already Fable on the books for which we'll touch in Forza, Gears, Halo. You would think it's what 2025 again. I mean, sorry, 2005 again with how these feels like the burger, fries, and shake are coming back to us with all these good old releases. But all right, boys. Well, I appreciate you guys kind of jumping around with me on that little journey through the past and kind of talking about where we're going to land. But just a reminder, and I touched on this at the start of the episode, guys. Please make sure you're liking, subscribing. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, comment. We really do want to engage with you. We're kind of jumping on our shorts and talking with you guys there about stuff. Make sure if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, it helps us continue doing this, and we love doing it. We appreciate those that have already jumped on and riding this ship with us. But boys, this is my reminder to you two that our drafts and rosters are fully locked. There's no changing. We're living and dying by it. We made that rule together. We're not doing any mid-year drops. So if I find out that Warhammer 40K, that my panic pick I made that I was so confident about doesn't come out, it's a big fat 0 for me. But, the best part about us doing that draft last week really helps us as we're getting into our next segment where we kind of talk about the major news in the upcoming Xbox Direct, which we kind of touched on before. But I wanted the audience to know, like, you basically watched our 3 pilots kind of all coming into these special episodes. Going forward, how the format goes, you guys will see as we'll go in, we'll catch up, have a conversation, whatever pops up like we just did, kind of go through some major news stories, touching that, do a little wrap up. Once we get a bigger audience, you guys are submitting some questions, we'll answer those things. But we're just here to have fun, talk gaming. As you guys see, we'll keep going on and on, especially if it's a topic we really enjoy. But boys, the big major story, I think, for all of us is the Xbox Direct. It's coming out on Thursday, the 22nd. I believe our time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And Dave, I gotta look at you real quick because I remember a certain counter pick you made. And the X-Wire, sorry, I just started laughing, tripped on my own words, but the official Xbox Wire quote, and I quote, 2026 is going to be an incredible year for Xbox players. You might even call it a fabled year. Now, I hate to say this, Dave, if they're utilizing Fable as kind of their call to action here, It's not boding well for you. And with our draft picks in place, our counter picks are also in place. I have to say for me, Dave, before I, pass it on to you, that sounds like music to my ears. I've got Fable on my roster. I'm excited. If that counter pick devastates you, no matter how many of those good ones, mixtape, I'm looking at you might have. But not only that, we also have a little other things we'll touch in. There is a leaked for my baby boy up there, Mr. Chip Crispy, that I think he's going to be sitting pretty happy from everything we've been hearing about this Forza leak that we'll touch on in a bit. But boys, we got Albion to talk about. We got Tokyo to talk about. Draft roster's 100% locked. There's no backing out. So with that being said, Dave, how are you feeling about this Fable? And I don't know if you guys had time to look at some of these stories I sent you guys, but some of the things I noticed here, it said the choice and consequences. It's about British humor, talking about Fable, then the drama of a hero, and we finally show you the magic and mischief of Albion. And during this direct, we were supposed to be getting a full deep dive into gameplay and everything. Story, I'm assuming, I think character creation. But hearing about them having truth and consequences in there really has me excited. I mean, I'm sorry, I said truth and consequence. That's a town in New Mexico, everybody, that me and my wife went to. It's a great hot spring town. I apologize. Choice and consequences.
Great name of a town.
That's what I said. But dude, real quick, truth and consequences is really creepy, dude. Like you're walking around, you see like satanic symbols and all these weird things carved in walls and stuff. So I'm like, is this hot springs or is it like sapping my life out? I don't know. Truth and consequences, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I don't know if that's true. I just heard a bunch of stories and I got scared.
Our entire fan base.
But boys, before I keep talking and putting a little bit of things down there, Dave, with Xbox literally branding their whole year after my pick that you boys kind of scoffed at, Nick, now don't let me forget, before you picked Marathon, you were eyeing Fable. And we can't change our rosters, and hearing all this news, how are you feeling, Dave, about going into the 22nd at this direct?
I'm nervous. But I mean, yes, for those listening, I counterpicked his Fable choice due to the fact that we weren't sure if they were going to be able to get it out this year. But now I'm reading more and more things online. It might be coming out much sooner than we expect. A lot of speculation it'll be in this first half of the year because of everything else that's coming out later in the year. And then, of course, we don't even need to mention GTA. But if they have something ready and they announce, they could announce a release date for a surprise March or April, something. It could be soon. Which, as a Fable fan, I hope it is. But for the sake of my fantasy, our fantasy league, I'm going to be in quite the pickle. I might be starting the year with some negative points. That'll be okay. If it happens, I'll still be happy because we're going to be playing it. At the end of the day, the points we don't know the punishment yet. I don't think. But
talked. The punishment is whoever loses has to 100% mixtape and send the either platinum on PlayStation or the full gamer score unlock on Xbox.
Oh man!
And not only that, and I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because we were going to bring it up earlier. But yes, so everybody, that would be the punishment for our loser.
Do I have to review it?
Yeah, that's my net. And you'll have to come on the show and give the winners, or first and second, a review of the game, and try to not only review it but try to get us to play it.
Yeah,
see if you can pitch it well enough for us. And Dave, don't worry, because it's not a set that you might lose. Even if I do get Fable, I still might have two big fat zeros waiting for me at the end of this season. I know I have a beautiful, beautiful amount of points coming from my counter pick, but we don't have to jump into that yet.
You probably do.
Nick, how are you feeling about all this Fable news?
I'm excited.
Especially, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, especially with Fable being on your GOAT list. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. I really, really hope they deliver. And the part of me that almost counterpicked it is it's more of a worry factor, dude. We've seen great games fall a lot. And I really, really hope Fable doesn't go down that route. I mean, I love that world. I think it's so much fun to get into, and I hope that they deliver. But, with how much talk and hype is going on about it, I think that they understand the assignment, right? You wouldn't be, especially basing a lot of the showcase around it. I think they gave us that small tidbit of information in that video, which we talked about in the last episode, but I think we're going to walk away from this direct and be like, holy shit, cannot wait till this drops. And I hope they finish a fantastic slew of gameplay and cool characters and villains and all this cool stuff. And then they drop a release date that's early year to mid year. And boom, you're left with that. I cannot wait till this day. You mark it on the calendar and here we fucking go. We're getting back into Fable. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna determine. I was gonna say it's gonna determine if I jump back in the other Fables, but with all the shit coming out, I don't think that's gonna happen before it drops.
Yeah,
I'll do a recap watch.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself, is like trying to go back and play them before it releases. But once February hits, we're kind of in a mad dash to the end of the year especially with the way we did our draft picks, where it's almost like they're kind of staggered from one another. So that'd be really cool. Like with Dave, his game coming out. What is it? Tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. It drops tomorrow.
But there's already Metacritic reviews because I guess it dropped early on PC.
I'll be looking. That's actually before we continue on with this direct, I would love to actually know that.
I'll show you. Give me 2 seconds.
Is that an 80?
That's an 80.
Nice. Okay. That's just PC right now, right?
Yeah, that's just PC. I don't know where it stands now. I don't know when they solidify the score because it has 84 here. But when you look at some of these, as more people get their hands on it, you got 90s, 95s. Ooh. You know what I mean? There's a potential. Who knows when they solidify it? But just seeing those three. Oh, sorry. Here, I gotta realize that you can't swap tabs with me.
No, you can only share that one.
What I was saying was when you look at these, so it says 84 here, but you go down, you got a 90, 90, and 95. Who knows when it's solidifies?
Those are the latest. The last 3 people gave it 90 and above. Overall, it's at 84 so far. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it, waits a week or something until it gets a good amount. But shit, off the bat, dude, that's promising. Uh-oh. Yeah. Oh, he's going to take a piss. We'll mark it real quick. I don't know to cut that. But so that's first points on the board, a tentative 80. That's just fucking great. But it's gonna shoot up. There's no way it stays at that. I mean, it's already 84 on Metacritic.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna make a bunch of accounts. Make a bunch of different accounts and give it a bunch of 99s.
Oh, you're dirty. All right, so I'll go ahead and hop into the next section here.
Before Nick, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. But I was kind of thinking, Dave, I'm wondering now, Nick, do you have any interest in maybe jumping into it now? I don't know if you guys kind of covered that while I stepped away real quick, but now I'm kind of, with those reviews, I do have some time before Dragon Age I said it again, Dragon Quest drops. I might have to make some time for this.
Yeah, there's a couple 2.5 weeks, right, until Dragon Quest, and I don't know. I think we talked a little bit earlier in the show, but I've just been kind of messing around with some Battlefield multiplayer because I love it. But I've been ready to get my hands on something new. So
here's one of the 90 reviews. Mio is a gorgeous exploration-driven platformer that thrives on your curiosity. What starts as a dark, confusing journey slowly unfurls into a vibrant world packed with secrets, hidden bosses, and environmental storytelling that rewards through exploration. While combat mechanics remain simple, fluid movement, challenging boss fights, and a richly atmospheric ship make uncovering the vessel's mysteries constantly satisfying for players willing to get lost along the way.
Huh.
It sounds interesting.
Nice. Simple combat. I'll be playing it on the back, or on an iPhone. What do I got? iPhone 16 Pro using the backbone. So that sounds perfect to kick back if it's just mash a couple of buttons here and there and not have to really, do too much.
Dude, this is going to score huge. I'm reading more of these reviews. One guy wrote, is a masterpiece. It's one of the most beautiful games ever made and already a strong contender for one of the best games of the year.
Wow. That's big words on the January 19th. That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
know. It's like, dude, you haven't played anything else.
That's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. Like, what else have you played this year? So,
Last
now,
thing on there,
granted, go ahead, Stan. Actually, I would love to hear another one of these good reviews.
25 reviews in total. 23 of them are positive and 2 are mixed, 0 or negative.
Do we have one of those mixed reviews before we move on? I would like to hear what they kind of have to say.
Mixed
And
review.
let's make sure we're shouting out who did the review too. So
Yeah.
Probably one of you guys trying to sabotage me.
Yeah.
Games and Games gave it a 0 out of 100.
All right, so here's Chip Crispy with a 60. What's he say? No, so this is Game Cult, and he left a 70. It says, with its strong art direction, cohesive world, and well-balanced difficulty, Mio proves to be a very satisfying experience. Its deliberately slow gameplay won't appeal to everyone, especially the combat, but it's justified and becomes quite engaging, making you want to invest the 10 or so hours needed to complete it. It's a solid little Metrovania that has a lot to offer, despite a few flaws and a finale that we had hoped would be more spectacular.
And you know what? It's been a long time since I played a Metroidvania 2D side scroller like that. So you know what? I think I might jump in tomorrow. I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah, me too.
I think it'll be a fun thing for us to talk about. We'll kind of talk about what we're gonna be doing later this week, but our next actual full episode back, I think it'll be a fun little thing to kind of touch in on how we all feeling about it. Cool.
10 hours to completion. You play a little bit each night before bed or something. And,
well, that's what I loved about Expedition too when it came out. It was not that long of a game. What was a good selling point when I told Nick about it. I was like, dude, you could beat it in 20 hours. You could spend way more time with it. But if you just mainline, and so Nick was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah, try it on Game Pass. You got nothing to lose." Since we're getting, I think at the time of the Game Pass price was like, I kept it and I wasn't using it as much. It's only $16. You know what I mean? But not to go back on the Game Pass tangent, but
one thing with that, why I am excited to pick it up too, is though that review was lower, both those critiques were, one was the combat, right? But not that I hate the combat. It's not for everybody, but it makes sense. And 2, he wanted more at the end. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna rate higher throughout as more people get their hands on it, because it's not like this is a game breaking shitty experience. It was, I wanted more of how this wrapped up, and I had to get used to the combat, but I did, and I enjoyed it.
That's a great point to bring that up. Yeah, like even though it is a 70, which isn't a bad review if you really think about it, but like were his complaints, if you want to even call them that, or just I want more and the combat was hard to get used to, is still a win in my book. So Dave, I think you made a great point.
Yeah.
A great pick.
Solid
out of
pick.
nowhere too. So all right, boys, we'll jump it back over to Fable and talking about that, kind of get my thoughts on it before we continue on. But yeah, like I know I was joking around and kind of, put my scopes on Dave because both you guys sniped me and I was feeling a certain kind of way about it. But at the end of the day, dude, I truly feel like Playground Games is going to give us something great. I feel like it's going to be, I think, and I'm going to go ahead and say it now and quote me here, I think it's going to exceed every expectation we've set for it. I think that they got smacked before and people were making fun of him. They said, "Oh, look, a CGI trailer." And he was like, "Actually, that's gameplay." So I think, with their success in Forza and what they proved with those franchises, I think we're in for a treat. I think I truly want them just to swing it out of the park and it really be something big, even if I didn't pick it this year, just because of my love for the series. And honestly, I want to see Xbox get a big win, despite all the things I said prior to it being a PlayStation guy. But I think that they really need one of those, a big one, but a game of the year contender that's from their studio. So jumping into sorry, my dog opened the door up, he's getting smarter. But Nick, while we're hitting this direct, another game from Playground Games has made some leaks lately. Apparently it leaked via the Forza 5 pop-up. Sorry guys, my notes got a little pop-up ad this week is what I heard. And they discussed a May 19th release date with a May 15th early access from their premium edition. And it's from what the quote reads, and I quote, "Discover the breathtaking landscapes of Japan in 550 Real World Cars Premium Early Edition access starts May 15th, 2026. So, Nick, with that leak and with Japan confirmed, which has been like apparently, and again, I'm not a Forza guy, from stuff I've heard from other outlets, is that's been the dream location everyone wanted to go to. And I don't know about you guys, I watched Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift as a kid, so it does sound like it would be an awesome place to go. But with that, Nick, and I think Dave and I both, we might have groaned a little bit when we saw these leaks, but I think you're in for a massive, massive Metacritic score that's going to really help you in this draft. And I am excited what they show at the direct as well. So, how are you feeling with Playground? We both might get some love for them starting Thursday.
Dude, I'm telling you, look, I'm of the mindset that this was an intentional ad drop, right? What builds hype more than something like this, right? If you look at the screenshot of the ad, and I'll just go ahead and share it here of what you've sent us, right? You don't go this far on a fuck up. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
It shows all of this. It has the background. Now, of course, it could very well be a bug, but you are appealing these shadow drops, these little hints, these little news that comes out. It builds the hype of this. Now, I'm a huge Japan fan. I love the scenery. I love how it looks. I think that, like you said, it's almost a little Fast and Furious reminiscent. You get to access all these cars and you get such a cool landscape in the background. I'm not a big Forza guy either. I've never been a racing game guy, but I can tell you if I wanted to deck out a sweet ass car, the one place I'd want to rip it through is Japan. You know what I mean? So I think it's just, from what I've heard about Forza, I've heard that this has been a location that a lot of the fans have wanted to see for a long time. So not only are you giving them the next installment of a series that they've probably been waiting for, you're giving them the map, the area that they've also wanted for who knows how many installations. But here we are at 6, and it's almost like a homage to the gamers is what I feel like when I hear that people been wanting this and they deliver it. And I think that's just going to go huge for people, the Metacritic. It looks like too, you get it, you pre-order it, you get a pretty cool package too, right? I love games that do early access. They reward you for doing a pre-order because you're still paying the same thing, but now you just get to play it earlier. You get an exclusive Ferrari J50, VIP membership, a welcome pack, car pass, 2 other car passes, which I don't know what they are, and you get 2 premium expansions, all for pre-ordering the game. You know what I mean? Nice. It's almost like you're buying a deluxe edition, but you're not. You're just pre-ordering it. So I think that's also going to be like, it's almost
Well, I think it might be kind of similar to how Starfield was, where you pay that additional price if you have Game Pass. Because what I'm reading, it's a premium edition early access, so you probably do gotta. Yeah, I think you probably have to spend that extra $30 or so. Remember Starfield, when it dropped, we got that early access if you bought it, which I did.
Pop up for Forza 6 Premium Edition. Okay, so I misspoke, but still, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was all just for a pre-order, and I was like, man, that's like a whole lot of gratitude coming from a developer to give you all that. But hey, what it does tell me though, let's, taking that out of it, 2 premium expansions coming post-launch. They already have plans in the making to expand this game. Not 1 coming post-launch, 2. They got 2 cooked up. So I think they're gonna deliver. And I think when we watch this on the 22nd, it's gonna really showcase it a lot. And maybe we'll pick it up too. Who knows? We'll see.
Now, I pose this question to both of you, actually. So with us getting the news that Fable might drop a little earlier, so let's say March, and then this one coming in May, are we looking at probably the VIP of the Xbox studios if Playground Games drops both Fable and Forza in the same year and they're both absolute bangers? Like, that's what I'm thinking right now. Like, if we're getting both 290+ games from one developer, and with, let's say, in this perfect world within like a 3 to 4 month radius of one another, that's pretty damn impressive. But what do you guys?
It's huge. I mean, I would say most developers wouldn't do that, but I think you got 2 completely different gaming audiences for these 2 games. Most people that are going to play Fable probably aren't going to play Forza, as we are all just stoked for Fable, and we're like, oh, we might pick up Forza. But
but there's probably 3 guys that are the reverse of that. Where it's like I might
Exactly.
pick up Fable, but dude, because like the Forza guys, like they get the wheel, they get the full setup, they
Yeah.
fully commit, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Or it might be something too. I pick up and say, do I want to take a casual spin through the fucking mountains of Japan in a Ferrari one day?
sipping on your baby boy blind.
Sipping on my baby boy blind. I might. It does sound quite appealing after a long day of work. So I see
Yes.
these games working in harmony together than competing.
That's a great point. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that, Dave? With Playground kind of poised to be the Xbox VIP this year.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if I could only play one, I would go to the Fable side. But this would be the location to pull me in as a new Forza player to check it out. I mean, I've been to Japan a couple of times. The Marine Corps does jungle warfare training there. Of course, you think of Japan, you think Tokyo, you think cities and stuff. But then, as you had mentioned, Nick, like going through the jungles, the mountains, I did a zip line adventure thing through the jungles. It's such a beautiful country. It would be such a cool landscape. You got the ocean to your right and a jungle to the left. If you're out on the coastline, going up Mount Fuji, stuff like that. They just have a wide variety. In a way, Japan could be. I mean, no deserts and things like that. Like I was about to compare it to the broadness of America with just all different environments, but that wouldn't be totally correct. But they do have quite a variety. With it being such a small country, like I mentioned, oceans, jungles, mountains, cities. Um, it I think of all the different racetracks or maps or whatever they call it in racing games. Shows how much we know about Forza, but like I said, this would be the one to pull me in. As let's say Fable's first, I'll put hours and hours into that game. And then what are we gonna play next? The summer's coming up and there's a little bit of a gap. Maybe I'll put 10, 20 hours into a racing game that I never would have played before, just because it's Japan, and being a fan of that area.
Yeah, Forza, from what I've tried Forza 5, but it just didn't, like, again, it's not really my cup of tea. But like you
Mhm.
guys stated, like it's a cool open world in Japan, and it's hard for me not to want to cruise around because I think you can actually get out of your vehicle too, if I remember correctly now. So maybe be able to walk around the city a little bit as well. So I think,
That'd be
like I
cool.
said, I think Nick, you're in a shoe in for at least the 90 plus. I think. I mean, it's like you made a bunch of great points earlier about them basically catering to their audience by doing this. The way Assassin's Creed kind of did, with they finally, broke glass in case of emergency, did to Japan, with Assassin's
Mm-hmm.
Creed Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
People want it, man. Japan has such a kind of a main, what's the best, like a cornerstone of this hobby and this thing that we all love kind of comes from there when it
Yep.
comes to, so it's kind of, I think like it's, might sound a little cliche, but kind of like, maybe it's a call to all of us that we want to see the place where all of our, like the things we love come from. Like I'm a weeb of everybody. I love anime. So go ahead and make fun of me. But
I
like
do too,
anime comes
brother.
from there. You know what I mean? I know
Yeah,
Nick
my
got me this.
wife's watching it right now. it's
There's a
a
bunch of new ones that just dropped. I don't know if you guys ever watched this as a
Italy.
kid, called Ronin Warriors. That was the English version of it. Crunch is making a debut on the podcast. Nope.
Murph's just
But
sleeping on the job. He's supposed to be watching my audio quality and stuff. But
just out cold. But it's called Samurai Troopers, and it's they have like a new season after it came out in the 90s, and now they have a new season after all this time. And I watched the
Really?
first 2 episodes. It's pretty awesome, dude. It's your typical, like, you guys, I'm sure we all grew up watching like Sailor Moon. So they do like the dramatic transformations into their armor and stuff like that, and I don't know. I'm always a geek for that stuff. But yeah, man, with Fable and Forza, kind of putting the cap on those two, I think like I said, Nick, I think you and I are going to be sitting pretty. You are a little bit more guaranteed that maybe we kind of got to see what they're saying, but I'm really interested in, will they have like this 1-2 punch at the beginning of the year from the same developer? I think that'd be really, really cool and kind of awesome to be about. Now, boys, before I get into something I'm really curious about, and I know you guys have probably seen it too, and we've kind of released, it was kind of our first short, our debut into that thing talking about. But there's one other game that is fully announced and guaranteed. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, called Beast of Reincarnation. And it is from, surprisingly, Game Freak. And for those that don't know, Game Freak is the developer of the Pokemon games. I'll be real with you guys. This doesn't really say anything to me. I kind of saw the trailer. I believe it was a Game Awards. I just didn't really put too much like research into it. But I was wondering if you guys have, or if you've seen anything, or if this kind of tickles anything inside you. Could have probably worded that differently, but let me know what you guys think.
No, I haven't seen anything about it, but I'm looking at it now.
Mm-hmm.
And
is there a release date? Did you say?
I think they probably. I don't know if there is, but if not, I'm sure they'll announce it.
It says 2026 on what I'm looking at right now.
I know it's coming out this year, so for sure. I think the pitch of this direct is everything that's shown at this direct is releasing this year, the developer direct. So
this sounds like it has the potential to be major, and the reason I say that is game will focus heavily on combat, pitting players against various enemies. From oversized mutant creatures to robots, the combat system has been compared to other action role-playing games, such as Black Myth Wukong, which is probably one of my favorite games ever, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which was a great game, and Nier Automata, which I never played this, but looks like a similar type of... It looks like the same type of action and fighting that's actually in Phantom Blade Zero, that same type of fighting. And when you look at it, it's Game Freak. Like you said, they've made a bunch of good shit. I'm excited to see this. I didn't even know about this. Set in Japan in the year 4026.
Yeah,
post-apocalyptic.
Futuristic. The thing that stands out, I mean, you got your dog sitting right there on your lap, and we're all dog lovers here, and talking about roaming the whole game with your you have a companion dog with you throughout. Kind of level you, and probably plays a big role. I'll be curious to try it out, man.
Oh yeah, the game's
so I would say this
style and story can compared to Studio Ghibli.
See, that sounds really cool. My only hesitancy on them is just what they've been putting out with Pokemon recently and how kind of the quality's been terrible. But hey, man, if this is their first chance to really shine away from like the Nintendo and Pokemon stuff, then hey, I'm all for it. Like I said, it's not really on my radar, but if it comes out, and it's especially Studio Ghibli, hearing that is really exciting.
Yeah. Well, dude, maybe a part of it, and this is just being the devil's advocate, but to me, I mean, holy fuck, Pokemon almost just needs to die. Like, how many games have they made? You know what I mean? Like, how much more can you... Well, they just need
to put effort into it. That's the problem. Like, you'll like, to your point when you're talking about Xbox never really going away, people will buy it. Like, Pokemon, the reason they keep making these crap games is because people buy the ass load. You know what I mean? So it's like, just take your time and put like a really good quality Pokemon out. Like, I would even consider playing if you really put the effort into it and it's like gorgeous to look at. When's like the last time we said that? That's back at GBA, a DS time, where like it was still like the original style, and that was like, I remember seeing Pokemon Red and Blue go to Pokemon Gold and Silver and like just being like, oh, this is insane. You know what I mean? So it's like,
was a crazy thing.
I guess you
I
could
hate
probably
to go on that Pokemon
like,
tangent.
Maybe you could compare it more to like Call of Duty type thing where they just
it's actually a very great point. It's like, that's, once you do that so much, then it finally happens. And like, as with Call of Duty, it happened. It got smacked in the mouth by Battlefield and Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
And needed to make a statement. Pokemon, their last release, again, wasn't people said they liked it, but like, if you look at it, it doesn't look great, but it still sold gangbusters. So they still haven't had the slap in the mouth moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if like, we can complain about it, they can address said complaints. But like, if people, like, not us, but like the royal you keeps buying it, then they're going to keep giving it to us. But back to the point about this, Beast of Reincarnation, maybe they show up here. Maybe this is like, like those poor Call of Duty developers that are stuck in the gulag making Call of Duties. If they were allowed out to make something they really wanted to make, this could be their moment right here. So I'm curious.
What? Yeah.
But boys, so there's been some rumors spouting around. Apparently, there's a chance. And the rumors say that there could be some shadow drops on Thursday. And a certain developer that we have a love-hate relationship, but we've loved a lot, is Mr. Todd Howard. And he proved with Oblivion Remastered last year that he's not opposed to a big shadow drop. So the rumor is, and I pose to you guys how you feeling about this, that both Fallout 3 remastered and Fallout New Vegas remastered in a crazy, insane world, if they both shadow dropped on Thursday, and none of us picked them, by the way, because who would have thought this would even be a thing? But
Yeah.
I'll go last, but I really want to hear from y'all. If we hit this showcase and let's say Fable banger, Forza banger, Beast of Reincarnation, cool, we like it. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to jump in. From what Nick read, it might be another banger for you, Nick, and you might jump in later this year. But then we finish it off with two of the remasters we've all been dying for, and my two favorite Fallout games of all time, both of those games. But Dave, how, what do we do if that nuclear bomb is dropped? No pun intended. At the on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, they just have to not release anything in 2027 so that we have time. We need a couple years to play all this stuff. If we're trying to get through anything, but it would be that would be pretty crazy, and I know people would go nuts for it. And with Fallout, the show, that's drawn in so many new players as well. So it goes to that's what going on with Halo and going to PS5. They talk about wanting to bring in players that have never experienced Halo Combat Evolved. Now they can play it on the PlayStation, and this could be something too where all these people got into the Fallout show, but they're like, oh, I never really played the games, but it came out how many years ago? Whatever. But now there's a remastered version. It'd be pretty smart.
And Oblivion was successful. I believe 5 million copies sold on PlayStation, and it was on Xbox Game Pass. So that just tells you, and it was cheaper too. So I think
Yeah.
it came out like 40 and then 60 for the deluxe edition, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Something
it
along that.
wasn't a huge price gap, which a lot of people really appreciated, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while you're going, Nick, how do you feeling about this? I know me and you grew up on those Fallouts, and then I'm going to pose another big question to both of you. But go ahead.
I would be one of those people that would completely shit a fucking brick, and I'll tell you this, I almost want to. Yeah, I mean, dude, I'll
Just
be honest.
drop an absolute Oppenheimer if this happens.
I would be sweating bullets the size of the brick that I would shit. But listen, it's to the point, dude, that I'm hard pressed to. I can't believe I didn't talk about this in one of my goats. Really, the Fallout series. I don't even think it caught a shout out from any of us in the GOAT series.
It's so funny you say that. I kid you not. Between that and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I was sitting in I was in the shower after the episode, guys, and I was just sitting there, and it's like that Vegeta meme that I sent to y'all before, where he's looking up and the rain's pouring in his face, and all I could see was the power armor and the lightsaber, and I was like, I failed you both, and I'm sorry.
Dude.
But
I mean, I'm gonna make an audible now for a redemption on it. I would put Fallout above Dragon Age in my goats, and I think the reason it really wasn't on my radar is because it's kind of fallen off, and Fallout 4 was not nearly as good as Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. And
agree.
I never got into Fallout 76 at the time of the goats. I watched the show, I like the show, but I like the show because I like the games a lot.
Are you watching a new season real quick? Just
Yeah, I'm caught up
Okay.
right now. Me and my wife are
same.
watching it, and I
We
don't
might
know,
have to do
man.
a review at the end of the season, maybe.
Yeah, we should. But
Okay.
I
We'll talk
go
about it.
back to when I first played Fallout 3 and how I fell in love with that series and those games. The fucking lore of that series is probably one of the best, maybe even better than Elder Scrolls lore in terms of how much there is. That's a tough one. Maybe Elder Scrolls has more, but you know what I mean. It's like, dude,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
you could watch them probably like an 8-part movie and still not get all the lore of the games. You got the
Yeah,
cool
because
super mutants.
you switch from the books to terminals, and you go through the terminals
Yeah,
and read all these different stories, and every of these again, it goes back to those handcrafted environments where you go into a place and there's a storytelling element to why it looks the way it looks like, and you catch up through logs. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I
You're
do agree
good.
that lore is probably just as deep as when you look through those Elder Scrolls books. But also,
Exactly.
to your point, like Elder Scrolls has this whole fantasy universe. It's like comparing it's like comparing post-apocalyptic America to Tamriel. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think it just naturally gives itself more lore because it has no shackles except
Yes.
its own stuff it creates. But yeah, go ahead.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No, I agree 100%. But there's just something that you gotta love about Fallout, man. You're in this desolate wasteland, but you're just listening to like classic jams, on the Pit Boy. You had the Three Dog Radio in Fallout 3. You had the old Western classics in New Vegas. The stories of each one are so much fun. The DLCs of those games too, which Bethesda always does so well. The DLCs are so good. Like, I remember when I played Fallout 3 the first time and I beat it and I was like, what the fuck? Because it was over. And it was cool because it was like really kind of it made sense that it was over with the decision you made. But then they brought Broken Steel in there, and then you had this expansion that was awesome expansion, but then you got to play your character afterwards and go hit those landmarks that you didn't have time for or you might have missed on your main playthrough. Fallout New Vegas was so good too. I could
Wait,
tell
going
you, dude.
back, real Nick, I don't because I really want to touch on those DLCs real quick because it was what was the first one you said?
Operation Anchorage was one of them where
Yeah, Operation
you got to
Anchorage,
go into the simulation and you were
which
fighting
is
the commies in the fucking mountains.
well, you get that Chinese stealth
You
armor,
get
and
the
I thought
Chinese
that was
stealth armor.
so sick. Then there was Mothership Zeta.
Mothership Zeta, which was a great one. You got to go up on the ship, you fought the aliens, you got the cool alien weapons. You had the pit, but you got to go to
Oh,
Pittsburgh,
that's right.
post-apocalyptic Pittsburgh, and you got to go through that whole area.
Wait, was the pit was Fallout 3?
Pit was Fallout 3.
Damn. Oh,
Maybe.
Anyways, keep going. I think you're right though.
Let me see. I don't want to disgrace this.
And then there was one. I'm trying to remember the name of it, guys.
And then you had
then you
Broken
went-
Steel,
Mhm.
and then
You go to Maryland for that last one, like the what's it called? You know what I'm talking about though, where you
Point
kind of
Lookout.
roll up. Point Lookout, great call. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was so much fun. I remember the scene from there where you fall through the floor.
Yeah.
And it just, you know what I mean? It was immediately when we started talking about it. So
It just, dude, I'll tell you, man, I'm more excited to play this. I don't want to say I'm more excited because I'm such a huge Oblivion fan, but I'm just as excited. And not to get into it too much, but I hopped into Fallout 76. I've been playing that recently, and that's really revitalized my love for it. It plays like Fallout 4, which is what it is, but just the being in that world again has kind of really made me want to hop back into 3 in New Vegas, 2 worlds that I know I loved and had a lot of fun, and experience it again in that high definition. And maybe they're gonna make some changes like they did with Oblivion, and I think in a shooter, it's probably gonna be some really cool changes too. I just hope they don't go too far away from what they already know is successful. I don't want it to be Fallout 4 in Fallout 3, if you know what I mean.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I hope that they truly just how they did Oblivion. I think is
Yes.
perfect.
Right.
Kind of clean it up a little bit, but don't take away what makes them special.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I
if they
mean?
would have put
So,
Skyrim engine, mechanics in Oblivion, I'd have been like,
what are you
this
doing?
isn't. I want the nostalgia kick off this. I want some of the clunky gameplay. I want that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just want it to look
Absolutely.
nice.
Now I'm gonna pose this to you guys before we continue on. But when let's say in this perfect world they both shadow drop, which one are you hitting first? Me personally, I'm going New Vegas.
3.
Yeah, I would probably do 3 first. And because it's like, do I have time to go through both games? Maybe it'd be New Vegas, but we'll see. First, we'll see what they have to say. Maybe they'd be staggered, like Fallout 3 is now, and then in the future date, New Vegas, something like that.
I think would be smartest hit New Vegas now, play it right
Yes.
off because the show's about New
The
Vegas
show's hot.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, show's hot
Yeah.
and it's in New Vegas, so you play off that.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna want to play it. And then I agree with you, Dave. Maybe push Fallout 3. Probably, I would even say maybe the end of the year or January, where there's like a
Yeah, you could
lull.
even put it in
Yeah.
27, dude, and it would still hit. Now, up and apart from the or maybe the show could be a part of it. Why'd you say Vegas first, Stan?
Why do I think it should be first?
No. Why would you play it first if they both dropped at the same time?
Oh, I always like, well, first, because I have it on the mind because of the show being one of the main reasons. And I have a huge amount of nostalgia for Fallout 3, don't get me wrong. But the thing I really, truly loved about Fallout New Vegas was I just liked the like cutscenes and the story of it, and being the courier, and like you get, I don't want to give story spoilers away, especially if it's about to drop. People I've played before, but just and all the different decisions and the different factions, really, I really enjoyed them in that one as well, with the NCR, the cons, Caesar's Legion, the house, obviously. I don't know, it's so cool. And then like to see Vegas and like that updated Unreal, whatever engine they plan on use, I'm assuming Unreal Engine 5, and just walking into the strip for the first time, I think it's going to be awesome. Again, but it would be hard pressed, as we won't give away what the big first moment you make in Fallout 3 is, but imagine seeing that in Unreal Engine 5. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think it would just
While
be
listening
that.
to President Eden's broadcast.
Yes. But I think it all goes down, Nick, that it's in so hard in my mind right now from the show that it would just be so much fun to watch the finale if they like time it that way and jump right
Yeah.
into that world and kind of play that own story and be like, oh, I just saw that from the show. Oh, I just saw it on the show. And then get
Right.
smacked right in the face by a death claw 3 minutes in and call it a day. But
Yeah.
but all right, boys, that's kind of that we're excited. The direct is soon. It's on the 22nd. And you know what, guys? And we were going to kind of talk about it at the end of the show, but what me and the boys decided is what we're going to do is, like we've talked about before, the daily grind of life. We'll be working. We'll all be busy during the day, but we plan on watching it. And that Thursday, we're going to hop on. We're going to record a little reaction for y'all, and we'll publish it Friday so you guys can kind of react with us. But we're really excited. I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us. And I think we're in for a big treat. I think it's honestly one of the best from last year as well. One of the best gaming direct shows, one of those that you get every year. So they really put a lot of love into those. Another showcase, boys, happened recently. And this is another, might be a little selfish, but my pick as well. Evil Requiem had they had like some merch and stuff, but they did have a really cool showcase. I don't know if you boys had the chance to see it, but as you guys saw, we basically have two games in one. Leon is your third person action. Grace, which is the other protagonist, she is more first person survival, which makes Nick cringe because he brings him back to Village. But you kind of get the best of both worlds. But one thing I noticed in that direct, I don't know if you can switch Leon to first person, because do y'all remember when they showed that little toggle where you can kind of put her over the
Yeah.
shoulder as well? So I'm curious to see how that looks, and maybe I missed it. Another thing I thought was really cool, and I'm just going to shoot these guys at y'all rapid fire. The difficulty settings, they have the 3 difficulties, including a classic mode where you have to collect ribbons to save your progress.
Mhm.
Me personally, guys, I'm good. I don't have the time, and I'll lose my shit if I lose everything and die, and because I didn't get a ribbon in time. But I think it's a cool thing, especially for those big RE heads that want to really test themselves. I think it's a cool thing to give them. Um, they have a new crafting mechanic as you're playing with Grace, where I saw that she like gets the blood and kind of makes a blood weapon and just pops those zombies. And one last thing, I saw the zombies. I want to know what you guys feel about this, and I'll kind of jump in on a few quotes as well. But the zombies are talking, so they keep like a personality of who they were prior. I think that's really cool. Some people are saying
I
it's
like that.
cringy and stuff, but like I think that adds a little something to it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like zombies and all the shows and stuff are easy for people like to write off and kill because there's no humanity. But if they do a
Mhm.
play on like, hey, this is things trying to kill me, but it's actually there's something in there. You know what I mean? I think that's a little bit, it kind of plays on that. But before you guys kind of give me your how you guys are feeling, I just want to. This is from Giant Bomb and their recap of having hands on with the game. And I quote, Leon is an absolute powerhouse. The hatchet parry and the roundhouse kicks make him feel like an evolution of RE4. But the talking zombies are what the real psychological horror kicks in. Also from PC Gamer, Grace's sections are a cold shower after Leon's action. Atmospheric survival focus is featuring a stalker enemy that makes Lady Dermatriscu, I messed up that name, but she's that big tall lady from Village that everyone was like in love with, look friendly. So hearing all that, boys, and kind of me talking about the different things, I know you guys both watched Showcase. Dave, I'll start with you this time. How do you feel about Resident Evil, and how do you think I'm looking on points?
I think it looks awesome. To jump back, answer your question about the difficulty first. I'll start with that. We're definitely in the season of life where we do want the the story difficult. I forgot exactly how they named them all, but just to be
Basically,
able
like
to
your
go
easy, normal, hard. You know what I mean?
right. And unless we're going in like Halo Legendary altogether, or if we're hitting
Yeah.
the Gears of War insane mode co-op, that's gonna be a different story. But for just a single player game that I just want to relax, explore, kill some zombies, I'll I'll, I'll most likely choose the easier difficulty, just to enjoy the game and to get through it. Because like you said, with having to find those save points with the ink ribbons and everything, with our life right now with babies in the house and everything that happens, sometimes you might only get to play for 20 minutes and have to jump off. So I definitely want to be able to save at any point. Um, and the stuff the stuff about um the zombies are kind of stuck in their habits. They're still doing their jobs that they did before they died. I thought was really cool because it does add that little thought process. You see the janitor cleaning the toilet or whatever he's doing, and you almost feel bad putting a
Well, that
shotgun to his.
lady like scrubbing the glass and her
Yeah,
like just going insane. It was crazy.
yeah. Just I saw that part. She's looked so frustrated, but she's like all covered in blood. She's making it dirtier than it
Yeah.
was. But she can't give it up. So then it's like you're kind of like putting them out of their misery, like
Mhm.
putting them at their final rest. Otherwise, if you just bypass them, what they're gonna she's just gonna keep scrubbing that mirror forever.
That's a
So
good
I
point.
thought that
Yeah, looking at the humanity of it, but also like it's almost a mercy kill if they're that
right,
like insane.
right,
And continuing on what you said with the difficulties, I'm right there with you. And you guys remember, I don't know if you guys remember, we touched in on, I think all 3 episodes, I made it very clear I'm a wimp when it comes to horror. So being able to kill everything pretty easy around me kind of helps with that.
yeah.
And I really, really want to jump into this game because I thought it was cool. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to jump in on that part.
No, I think that pretty much wraps up my
Okay.
thoughts. I think it's cool switching between different characters because like even people in our YouTube short comment were letting us know how they felt about Leon. Basically, he's the horror in the horror game. So it's hard for him to be going around being scared when you have a shotgun and a hatchet and all that at your disposal, ready to
And it
fight.
looks so fun to play as him. I'm so excited. And again,
Yeah.
like that's where I'll probably cry a little bit when I'm playing as Grace and I have to creep around and be terrified the entire time. But just look for
Yeah.
those moments of being Leon and just dominate these zombies. Nick, how did
Yeah.
you feel watching that showcase and kind of reading some of these things? And back to Dave when he answered that question, what do you what do you think you're gonna roll with difficulty wise?
I'll start with the difficulty wise, dude. I'm fucking definitely not gonna do the ribbon shit. And look, but I like they put that in there because you're right. There are gamers out there that are stoked about that, and hats off to them. If gaming was everything and that I had the time to do it, I would probably give the game a spin in that as well. I just don't have
Oh
the
yeah.
time for it right now. Now, this game seems really, really exciting, and I think you're going to get major points. Something that I didn't like about Village is it felt like it tried to go too far into the horror aspect, but it wasn't scary, right? You had unless you were just like in a pitch black room and you had your headset tuned all the way up, right? You get a couple jump scares, but then you get accustomed to it, right? You're planning for the next jump scare. You know it's going to happen. And when you're that focused on that, typically in those games, the action dies down, right? You're more focused on that. What I think this game has a really cool concept is this dual perspective, right? You get the best of both worlds. You get a really cool kind of underpowered character that you are on the edge of your seat as you play, but then you get the awesome fighting, killing the zombies powerhouse as Leon. And I think it's going to make each one of those interactions refreshing too as you play it, right? You're going to go through a level as Leon, knocking shit out, and then you get to kind of like get immersed in the horror of it. With that, and with Village, what I was talking about, the jump scares, when you add zombies that can talk, you add a whole nother level of horror to something, right? I don't envision it as you're Leon killing one and it's like, oh, talking. No, I imagine you're creeping around a corner as Grace and you hear this fucking demonic conversation or this zombie saying this crazy shit. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother level of horror when you're playing a game and this fucking mutant can talk. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's just going to amp up that horror factor as Grace, where I think what they'd have to rely on if they weren't talking is jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, which in Village, it got old for me. But if you add this little talking factor, I think it's going to and then you're going to get that big hit of horror. And then you're like, all right, that scared the fuck out of me. Now I'm going to go murder all of these zombies as Leon. You know what I mean? It's this
A little
perfect back and
payback.
forth. And then you get a little bit like, okay, I just crushed this level. Now I got to get humbled a little bit and creep past this, as this character to where I don't have nearly my arsenal that I would use to defend myself. And a part of me is you talked about you're able to swap the camera angles. I think that's cool. I almost think that I really like the concept of you would play Leon in this action part as third person. And if when I play this, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to play Grace in first person, right? I think that adds to the horror as well because it's just more you're more immersed like that.
Well, I want to play it the way they intended for us to play
Yes.
it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I think it's really cool that they kind of focused on these two different aspects on two different perspectives, which also goes to show that they're really focused on making these two different experiences that mend together. So I think it's going to be really, really cool, man. I'm really excited for it. And I hope it revitalizes my love for the franchise after Village just fell a little short for me, but I like a lot what they're doing with this.
No, and you put it beautifully. I agree with everything you just said. I think, and also to all that, the biggest thing they need to hit is that delicate, perfect mix of it. You know what I mean? Like, don't have too much of one thing. Like,
Yes.
if they clear that and it's clean, it's almost like I would love it where I'm like playing as Leon and I'm like, all right, man, I need like a break from all this craziness. And it's almost as I'm saying that, I'm switching over to Grace. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. They could burn themselves. You're 100% right. They could burn themselves as if you're as Grace or Leon and you're like, I cannot wait till I get to the next point where I can play as the next character. You know what I mean? That
you know,
has the potential to ruin the game for someone.
I'm really, like I said, and you guys will notice that about us as we continue to do this show is we're wanting every game to succeed because we want great, cool things to play. There's not really, we're not going to be voting for the downfall of things. I want to see what they have. And, it's at the end of the day, video games are art. I want to see what their art's all about. These guys, man, I really want to, like to Nick's point, I want to play it the way they intended us to play. Now, at the easiest difficulty because I'm a scared little guy, but also still want to play those games. So, because I will scream and I will be playing this game with the lights on with both my dogs on the couch. So, and then got to walk them at midnight and be like, looking.
That's when it would hit me for stuff like that. You go out in the backyard or you go out, take the dogs, and you're hearing strange noises after you're spending like 4 straight hours of on this too with the emotion. Like and them being able to talk, like I just picture you're just gonna hear crying at some point in the
Oh,
game. They're gonna take
especially
advantage.
where Nick lives, where he heard that bobcat. Imagine hearing
Oh
that
yeah,
bobcat after
dude.
playing this for 4 hours. You hear that screech in the distance.
Those chickens are gonna be on their own for a couple months.
But boys, I'm excited. I'm excited about this direct. We got Dragon Quest. Said it right this
There
time.
it
Dragon
is.
Quest right around the corner. We got
Mhm.
Mio right around the corner. But I want to take a time for a second, guys, and be like, what have we been playing this week? I kind of, Nick, you touched on a little bit. We were talking about our Fallout thing. Anything else you want to touch on Fallout 76? That been the only thing you've been playing around this week. And then after he's done, Dave, go ahead and take over, and I'll finish us up on that.
Yeah, I mean, 76 has kind of been the main one. I'm very introductory into it still. I'm I, I'm just liking it, and I'm more so liking it for the sake of being in the universe. Like I said again, um, it's basically what ESO is to Elder Scrolls, 76 is to Fallout, and it's got some cool storytelling. It actually plays a lot better than I thought it would for basically an MMO is what it is. Um, but I thought that the gunplay would be a lot more clunky than it is. And I always was wondering how they would do VATS. They actually did it pretty cool. I like how they did it. It makes sense. Um, but it's just fun, dude. I'm doing like a little bit of the base building. I like you can set up your camps. I got the Fallout First or whatever it is, where you could do a month and you get like a little survival shelter, and it's just fun to kind of mess around and go and explore a different part of the Fallout universe. So I'm enjoying it. It seems like the community's real nice on it too, which is refreshing in a lot of these MMOs. But other than that, I did play and I got it for me and my son, Vampire Survivors after I picked its follow
Nice.
up on my draft. And I can see why this game hooks people. It, it's basically a mobile game. It's got all the hook of a mobile game, but it's fully fleshed out as a console game. And it's just like what you sometimes attest, like that, like the Diablo mind numbing fun to where you could just like listen to a podcast or listen to some music and do it. It's what it is, right? It's just fun to go through. It's got different stages, different characters, it's got unlockables. It's fun. So I'm really excited to see what they do with the sequel now that I've played this one.
And that's I actually played Vampire Survivors when it dropped. And Dave, have
Yeah.
you ever gotten hands on it?
No, I haven't.
You can get it on
So
your
when
phone.
yeah, you get it on your phone, you get it anywhere really at this point. But so you don't press any buttons to play. You just move around, and like you'll move around, and to the next point you hit an upgrade, and like let's say it's holy water. Holy water will be around you, or Bibles, and they will circle around you. Or you get daggers, and you're tossing them nonstop, and it's just hordes of monsters. You're walking through the hordes, and you continue to level up. Yeah, it's so addicting and so fun. I beat it all the way through where you get like the final stuff.
Yeah.
I did it on like when I was on the long work trip on the plane. I played it on my phone and like unlocked everything and played it through there. I wish I'd have done it on PlayStation. I have a platinum probably. But
Yeah, the amount of achievements is insane too, dude. I think my first game I played, I got 12 achievements after I finished like the game, the round.
it's a huge dopamine hit. And the
It
cool thing
is.
about Vampire Crawlers, the one you picked, is it's totally different.
Mhm.
Now it's kind of like follows that same concept, but then you go into what I think are turn-based card battles.
Yeah.
And I think we might have touched on this during the draft, but I think that's going to be really cool because that kind of answers the problem people had. Where like, I kind of want to play it as well as that.
Yes.
So yeah, I think when that drops, I think that's where we go back to talking about we're all getting big points. I think that was another big point pick for you because Vampire Survivors was up for it. I think it was up for Game of the year it came out. It was one of the ones that could win it. So
Yeah, it's fun, man. So that's what I've been playing. David, what you been getting into?
Well, for this, since our last episode, because as we talked about, the weekend was all about football. I was watching these playoff games, but now that the Bears are out, I don't care what happens anymore with the NFL. It's all about gaming for until at least until the fall. But I did play some. My buddy Jim hit me up. He wanted to play some Battlefield multiplayer. We hopped in there one night, and I'm such a big Battlefield fan, and it's a shame. I think we've talked about it in the past of just the slow content. They just pushed, or not just, but season 2, was supposed to be out by now, but now it's let me check my notes. I think February 17th we have to wait. And I think that's really, it's gonna just kill Battlefield. Call of Duty is just, there's a new update every week basically, so it's they're not keeping up with their competitors. But to me, it's just still such a fun game. You jump in that multiplayer, and the sandbox of it is it's the perfect game to relax, and I can always get a bunch of kills in those big team modes. The battle royale can get so frustrating, but of course we love that if we have 4 people online. But at the age we're at and the lives we live, it's really hard to get 4 people on at once. So the multiplayer, is great. But I'm ready now. Some of these new games coming out, Battlefield's really going to take a back seat. But also one thing with what we've been spending our time, I've really been getting my wife into Lord of the Rings, and Nick's got that map right there behind him, and it's been fun. We're doing the extended cuts. 4-hour movies. You got to push through, and having these little toddlers at home. We haven't been able to complete the Fellowship. We keep falling asleep. Not due to boredom.
It's
Just
relaxing. It's like a cup of coffee. I mean, not a cup of coffee, like just a nice cup of hot chocolate. You're just like, it's so good.
Dave wakes up in a cold sweat. I want to see mountains.
It's just pure exhaustion that we end up passing out. It's not due to boredom, and it's fun because she's never really dove into that world. So we'll recap in the morning. It was like, oh, where'd you fall asleep, or all that, and asking all the questions and stuff. So that's been a lot of fun too. I know we definitely got some Lord of the Rings fans listening to the show, so they'll be pleased bringing another one into the Middle Earth.
Yeah, you're co-hosting with 2 of them. We, adore Lord of the Rings. And it's funny, Dave,
Yeah.
I did the same thing with my wife about 2 years ago, made her watch all 3 films. And I told her eventually she has to set in, because we, they're not as good, but the 3 Hobbit films as well, we have to do those next. But
yeah.
Well, I'm kind of cut from the same cloth you're coming from this week, Dave. As the boys know, I was crazy busy. We had big events in the building all weekend, so I was kind of fitting it in when I could. And I was just hitting Arc Raiders. Kind of the same mindset you have, where I'm like just almost like a one last hoorah before we hit this 2026 burst. Like I've said it multiple times, Dragon Quest is coming out. For me,
Yeah.
I got early. I got like I told you guys, I did the early access, so I'll get it February 2nd, and I'll be jumping into that. And as soon as I'm probably wrapping up with that, I'll be hitting Resident Evil. And after we talked earlier, I'll be hitting definitely Neo too. So I think it'll be fun to kind of hit 3 different genres in about a month's time span. So I'm excited about it. But yeah, I did a couple raids on Arc Raiders, uninstalled it, reinstalled it again. But it's fun. Like, and right now I have enough stuff. I just found a snap hook randomly in a drawer, so I have enough Wolfbacks and Dead Mines where my last hurrah will be going after the Queen. So I might call you guys. We all hop in one trio and we go after her and see if we get that achievement. Basically, with you guys just watching my back against the smaller arcs as I go in on a suicide mission and drop Dead Mines on that behemoth. And also, I think we might have to hit one more quads, even though Nick has to work early in the morning. I might have to hit a couple quads before bed. One last hurrah on Battlefield before Mio comes out.
It's never one.
It never is. We did this full transparency. I think it was after episode 1, the GOAT episode. We all hopped on, and we didn't go to bed till like midnight.
Yeah,
did like 8 rounds because every time we got closer, but. That's why it's so much fun. Like you said, Dave, when you get 4 people, it's hard to get off because it's so rare you can get 4 people together to play.
Right.
But yeah, like we said, it's kind of a lull period for games where, right, like I said, tomorrow kind of starts it with Mio and that going. Dave, it's already put points on the board as we're speaking right now. Nick read a lot of great quotes, and there's one I had too from Times of India. The atmospheric tension of Inside mixed with the technical Metrovania combat. It's the first must-play indie of 2026, and it kind of sounds like everything else we read, especially from those positive reviews. So I think that I think we're all gonna have a lot of fun with this little Metroidvania. And again, like I don't know when the last time y'all played a side scroller like that. For me, it's been a minute, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to rekindle some of that old past, some of that old nostalgia, and jump in. But
Yeah.
everyone, I just want to say thank you all. Boys, Nick, what do you got going on? No, you're going to bed right now. I always
Yes,
forget
sir.
we do this at night. But what you got going on the rest of the week?
Well, I'm gonna download Mio when it drops, so that's gonna be my gaming for the week. I'm gonna try to hop into it here and there, and I'm looking forward to kind of playing. I can't remember the last time I played a platformer and really gotten into it, but with the reviews, I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, it's gonna be a busy work week, just a pile of meetings and stuff like that. But looking forward to the snow then too this weekend. Get the kids out in the snow, man. That's always so much fun. Get them going sledding down the hills, building the snowman, going out and just exploring in the snow. So I'm looking forward to that. I will pay for it Monday at work when the entire railroad track's covered in snow and I got to get the team out there to clear it. But you know, it's the little victories with it. So should be a busy week, but excited that tomorrow truly is the start of these 2026 drops, and it's going to
Yeah.
be a good year for gaming. It's going to be a good year for just getting more involved in this and having fun, man. So I look forward to it.
Absolutely, Dave.
I appreciate people supporting so far and being active in the comments and people watching these videos and just seeing our love of games. And yeah, like we had talked about, Mio drops in just a couple of hours. But all of us are got to get to bed with early wake ups and such. But I think I'll definitely try to get at least a couple nights this week. If we're not watching Lord of the Rings, because you can't, no matter how many times you've seen it, it'd be hard to sit there and play a game while Legolas is firing arrows at some orcs or something.
Yeah, that's absolute blasphemy. You have to be paying attention fully.
But what works out well for me right now, my wife has really been she's still chipping away at Tears of the Kingdom on her Switch. And she just diving in, doing every single shrine, doing every single side, and she'll just play a little bit here and there. So it's really stretched that game out for her, and so that's perfect. If she wants to jump on and play some Switch, I'm definitely gonna be playing some Mio. So we could talk about it next time for sure.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, guys. Obviously it's evening, and like right before this, I had dinner, and the wife made some homemade turkey burgers and homemade. She made them, like got the sweet potato fries. She made homemade sweet potato fries. So
Oh, that
probably
sounds so
crush a
good.
couple handfuls of those, and then go walk the dogs before bed. And
Yeah. Hell
yeah.
yeah.
How that goes. But yeah, same thing. It's gonna be a really busy work week. I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum of my brother there. I'm hoping this winter vortex doesn't hit because it's just gonna be a pain at work with all that different stuff. But I do love the idea of my niece and nephew playing out in the snow and my dogs here jumping, throwing them into that big pile of snow. So it's
Yeah.
gonna come whether we want it to or not. So it's might as well embrace it, enjoy it, and understand that we're gonna have to handle some business as well. But I'm the same as you guys. I'm gonna jump into Mio and get some time in. So when we talk next time when it's not direct related, we'll be kind of jumping in that. But again, boys, I appreciate both of you. Everybody, we all appreciate the audience. We really appreciate everyone watching and getting in, like going on our shorts, commenting, watching our big videos, and starting to join our community. We're really, like Nick said, we're excited about 2026, but we're also extremely excited about doing this podcast together as a team, adding some things here and there. And one of the first things we're going to be doing a little different this week, and one to kind of wrap it up here, guys, is we'll be doing the reaction video to the Xbox Direct. We'll be doing that Thursday evening, and we'll be dropping it Friday for all of you guys to join. And make sure you jump in there, tell us how you're feeling. We'll see how excited we all are. I think I just can't wait. We're super excited. We'll see if Dave's counter pick survives Thursday or his points tank and poor little Mio didn't save him. But we'll find all this out on Friday. So everybody keep grinding, keep gaming, and we'll see you not next week. We'll see you Friday. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good night.